Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. Generations of families and friends who feel passionate about the programs they watch on Iowa Public Television.
Hello, I'm Paul Yeager. National, statewide, and local discussions have filled living rooms and classrooms across the country. Parents, teachers, and students all with a common connection and a common goal of tackling the ever-present issue of bullying. We won't attempt to solve the problem in the next 30 minutes, but we will bring the issue some much-needed context in our own state. I'll sit down with 4 Marshalltown students, each with their own opinion on bullying. We'll examine an innovative project at Des Moines' Harding Middle School where students are channeling poetry and dialogue. And we'll showcase the best student-produced videos across Iowa. But we'll begin our program in Northwest Iowa, where one community is using a 3-pronged approach to change the discussion and take bullying head on.
Punch me, strangle me, take things from me, sit on me.
Give it to him hard!
He's not safe on that bus.
I've been on that bus. They are just as good as gold.
The documentary Bully examined peer-to-peer bullying in several schools and communities across the country. The Sioux City, Iowa School District was one featured for a good portion of the film.
They wanted to look at some of these positive and progressive things that we're doing, but they were honest with us as well and said, we'd like to find a student or a situation somewhere in some building that deals with school bullying. We really want to see what it looks like. And they were also transparent with us in telling us they'd asked hundreds of school districts and everyone had told them no so far.
It was a huge leap for Paul Gossman, who at the time he was approached by the producers was fairly new on the job as superintendent.
And I'm proud of our board for stepping forward and saying this is so important that we're willing to put our dirty laundry on the table for all to see. Because we've said all along, we're not unique because we have bullying in our schools. Every school deals with bullying.
The film took months to produce, but the result was nearly instant. Coalitions formed across town looking to help the district and its thousands of students confront and deal with the issue of bullying. Groups also formed inside the schools as well. To put it mildly, middle school is one of the more challenging times that we all go through. And here at Sioux City North Middle School, they're in the middle of Be the Difference Week. Today happens to be the day they're all wearing pink. But the students will tell you this week goes beyond just 5 days.
It is about really of the kids having a recognition and focus on stopping and standing up against bullying, of course, but then also what their words and actions have an impact on others. If they say something or not say something, do something or not do something at a critical time in someone else's world, that can make a huge difference to someone. So it's about making sure that those interactions and those words are positive and make a positive difference.
Marguerite Reinert is the advisor of the Girls Circle group. The middle schoolers meet each week for leadership training, handling stress, and most importantly, positive peer relationships. The goal is to make them better students, but more importantly, better people.
You don't want anyone feeling left out or like not being able to be their self or comfortable because they're going to be here for the rest of their time. And then you don't want them doing it to when they're 8th graders and to keep it going on.
It means that you realize the impact that bullying has on others and that you should be positive to those around you and to yourself.
The students hope the outside community is paying attention to the anti-bullying campaign. You don't think people in the community have bought in yet?
No.
Why not?
Because, I don't think if they don't have, a child in the school, they don't really pay attention to what's going on with the schools.
And I can't say enough how important it is for adults to model behavior.
Cindy Waite was one of the producers of the Bully documentary. Her group, the Waite Institute for Violence Prevention, started work inside the Sioux City schools before the Bully movie was a reality. Waite says buy-in is needed at all levels in the schools, but outside behavior can erode any progress.
They do watch what we do. They watch how we treat each other. They watch how we treat our spouses, our other children. They're looking to us. And we do have an influence on their behavior. Research will tell you that. So if we're not modeling that, we can do programs all day long, and we're not going to move as far as we want to move.
And yet another part of the bullying campaign in this community comes from the Fourth Estate. The Sioux City Journal cleared their entire front page of the Sunday, April 22nd edition to offer up this editorial on the subject. The paper's editor at the time, Mitch Pugh, says the decision was non-traditional, but well received.
Our main priority was to let people know this needs to be a community-wide discussion, a community-wide effort. We can't say it's the responsibility of the schools or it's just the parents' job.
The paper was recognized by editor and publisher as a paper who, quote, did it right in 2013.
What really needs to happen is a foundation needs to be built that's going to last, through generations and through, it can't just be one editorial or one, year of intense focus.
Kindness goes a long way. I don't want to oversimplify this, but being nice is a huge part of this. Accepting people for just who they are at that moment in time is a huge part of this.
At Harding Middle School on Des Moines' north side, students can remember a time when physical fights and bullying were common. But in just 3 years, Harding has undergone a massive transformation, significantly reducing the number of incidents and offering a positive story within Iowa's largest school district.
Bullying and harassment is a really tough issue in any school, but definitely I think in middle school when they're really learning how to interact with each other in an appropriate way.
I think people bully because, they don't like building people up. They just tear them down because they don't really want them to have so much power in their hands.
Bullying comes from immaturity and like you being immature.
Like you don't see a lot of bullying here because, as soon as we see it, we're on it. Like there's no doubt about it. We're on it. Like it'll stop.
More than 630 students, grades 6 through 8, attend Warren G. Harding Middle School in Des Moines. The school serves a diverse population and is considered a high-poverty building, with over 95% of the students qualifying for free or reduced lunch. The once troubled school has undergone a massive transformation and in just 3 years created a positive culture where students are thriving.
How many hugs do I get today? A lot. Thank you.
When I started in the building 4 years ago, we had the police in our building on a regular basis, breaking up fights, dealing with students who were threatening to kill themselves. Bullying obviously is a part of that. Students who are uncomfortable will either lash out physically or emotionally by saying, I'm going to hurt myself, I'm going to hurt somebody else. We have seen such a great change. There's just a feel in the building that's very positive. That is because we have worked hard as a staff to build relationships with students, empower them to take control of the positive culture in the building and hold each other accountable. Behavior First is something that we've designed. So the title comes from the fact that we couldn't change the academics in the building until behavior was under control. So behavior first. Behavior is always first. The teachers meet on Friday and they rate every student in every grade level as to whether they're positive, neutral, or negative for the week based on their behaviors. And those ratings are public in multiple ways.
Ratings are reviewed with students in small advisory groups that meet on Monday and Wednesday mornings.
Students are able to bring up issues that they see, and then we allow them to discuss it and come to a resolution that makes sense to the group, all the while we're monitoring it.
Okay, think about the power of our group. The power of a group versus the power of one. Think about the end result and how we can help solve this problem.
And as students become more and more consistently positive, then they get nominated to be in our positive peer club, or we call it the Wolf Pack. Once I'm in the Wolf Pack, then I have the opportunity to be a part of government. And when I'm in government, that's the highest level I can go to as a peer to help have influence over the rest of my students.
Well, us as government, we play our part and we got to be positive both outside and inside of school.
Other incentives for working towards positive behavior come in the form of privileges, such as special school events. The student government leaders help determine those rewards.
With Behavior First, we really try to fulfill that need for power, that self-worth in different means, then through dominating somebody else, or then through getting attention for negative behavior.
I think another way that our building has addressed the bullying situation is by really remixing our students' thinking that school is a sacred place. You come to our building to read, to write, and to think, and to also uplift each other and to build each other up so that you are on an equal playing field, because we talk a lot about equality.
Christopher Rollins and Emily Lang are co-instructors for a class called Hip Hop, Rhetoric, and Rhyme, using current culture as a forum to combine civics, history, and literacy objectives. Students explore how they can be a force for change.
We have this phrase called energetic reciprocity, and it's this idea of always building each other up and never tearing each other down. And we hold kids to a pretty high standard when it comes to that.
We look at a lot of issues, but we then remix that into a solutions-based class to say, what can you do now, knowing the problem, what solutions might exist in your community, or if solutions don't exist, how can you be someone that is that change agent to make that solution occur?
Rollins and Lang are leading a poetry movement that has inspired some Harding students to create change by sharing their truth through spoken word poetry.
Real diversity collides like the colors in a kaleidoscope. Now take a second and look through your scope and hold it say you take that shot at hope, because we got no time to mope with our heads held low.
I dream upon a reality where I was still there for him, to teach him the qualities of a man.
Moving forward, but we happen to be running backwards, nonstop, gasping for air because life won't wait for you.
Encouraging students to discover the power of their words and of their voices has been transformative for the students and for the school.
I feel like I have a lot of power. I feel like I could roam the schools, this school, and feel like I'm at home.
The direction I hope to lead people in is like as positive as it can be. Like, just get them on the right track if they're not doing so well, and like lead them to success and accomplishments.
A message to like people being bullied is you gotta keep your head up. You gotta know that these words can't really hurt you. You're more than what they say you are. You're you.
To broaden our discussion, we sat down with 4 Marshalltown High School students, all with varied interests and backgrounds. Now each has their own opinion about bullying, both in their school hallways and beyond. How many of you in your lifetime have been bullied? Raise your hand. Anything specific that stands out, or a certain reason that you've been bullied?
I grew up with a mom who was a teacher, so I very much knew what teachers expected out of their students. So I kind of grew up being a respectful student, and I guess I kind of got picked on for being a teacher's pet year after year, which isn't really hardcore bullying, but just something that started, or that's when the bullying started.
Trey, you're new to this school?
Yes.
You're a freshman. You were in Texas before. Explain your situation there to here.
There, it was a lot of, you know, you're gay, nobody likes you and stuff like that, and nobody would talk to me. I had no friends, family, and it was just difficult. And then I got here, and it wasn't as bad. It was a little bit better, but I still had some bullying at sometimes, and I still do sometimes. But it's gotten a lot better.
Nicole, do you think bullying is an issue that everybody knows about, goes on, and now is doing something about, or are they ignoring it?
I think that there are some people that acknowledge that bullying is an issue, and there are some people that do not recognize it. It's just an ongoing issue that people need to be aware of, and they need to realize the consequences that can come from it. People need to personally think about themselves and how they've felt when they have been bullied, because I truly believe everyone's been bullied at least once in their life.
You're not that far removed from elementary school or middle school. You've only been in high school here a couple of years. How has that discussion changed for you and your school involvement?
When I was in elementary school, it was more of name calling and just, you know, kid things, but I mean, bullying has always been more than just a kid thing. And then getting into intermediate and middle school, it becomes much harsher and much more in your face and physical.
Does it only take place inside of the school, Libby?
No. I think in some ways it's almost, there is a lot going on in school, but kids are almost more hesitant in school, whereas outside of school they can do things with almost no retribution for it or somebody calling them out for it, such as cyberbullying or simply just bullying in general.
I think wherever there's activities going on, personally, I know that different activities I've been in that are outside of school, there's been times where I've been bullied.
I think it's easier to do it over the internet or with social media because you don't have to face them. You can just type it and it's out there and it's done. And where at school you have to look at them and say something. You don't have to look them in the eye. You don't have to see what their facial expression, their reaction is once they read it. It's just, you've said it, and that's it.
What does bullying look like to you, Trey?
To me, most of the time it looks to me as mentally erupting. The people, they think they can just call your names. Sensitive people like me, they call the people names and it hits them really hard.
What's not being discussed about bullying that should be in your eyes?
Everyone thinks of it as students bullying other students, but from personal experience, we need to remember that adults can do it too, and that's just as big of an issue.
There's people that are like, oh, my child would never be bullied, everything's fine, it's all right. But in reality, there is people that are bullied every single day. Some people might think that our school is the best school ever. I personally do too, but it's just, as far as bullying, I know that it goes on, and there's other people that aren't aware of it though. And it's just something that needs to be brought to everyone's attention, that it does happen.
So do you think that sensitive kids are the ones picked on the most?
From what I've noticed, yes and no.
All of us are pretty loud-mouthed. We're able to talk about things, and I mean, we're just open with everything, and the fact that all four of us have been bullied, I think that just shows that it's not only sensitive students, it's also those who have the ability to speak up and say something. I mean, it just depends.
So Trey talks about the verbal assaults, and does that still happen? I mean, is it just one word? Is it a sentence? What does it look like when it's happening?
I think that if you purposely target a person and it's constant that you target a person, it can be considered bullying. And I think when there's one thing that might be said, I think that's more of just you're mad, you're just releasing anger, and you're taking it out on someone, which is very wrong. But I do know that I don't believe that that's bullying when it's just a comment.
And going along with what she said, bullying to me is when you have the intention of hurting someone's feelings or bringing them down. And I know I've been joking around with friends, and if I hurt their feelings on accident, I don't mean to, and I always apologize, but I've never purposely set out to make someone's day miserable or something.
Yeah.
But do you think a bully knows that they're the bully?
I don't think so. I think that it just spurs from a place of their own insecurities, and then they take that out on other people, but don't see it as bullying. They just see it as the way they live their lives.
I'm actually going to disagree with Libby.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
I know from my personal experiences, there's been people that I have stood up to, and I have said, look, you need to stop, and it won't stop. I mean, things that started in 5th grade in elementary school are still going on today as a senior.
And going along with that, the hardest part is after you call them out and they won't admit it. I know for me that's been the most frustrating part of it.
Yeah, just there's a lot of different things. It could be a teacher, it could be an adult, it could be a kid. They really don't want to accept the fact that they're doing it. And when they do accept it, then they get really upset, and then they continue because they're really upset about it, so they're just going to continue to do it.
All right, so do the programs work to stop this behavior? How do you stop it? How do you stop the cycle?
I do believe that it starts with individuals because Rachel, moved so many people just by standing up for other kids. And while it does start with the individual, there's only so much that one person can do. But I believe that Rachel kind of led by example which is something that each student here can take on and just spread kindness and compassion where they can, and hopefully that can be picked up by others.
That brings me to where I want to go next, bully bystander. Who's been a bystander before? You don't stand up every time. It's hard to do. It's hard to do. Why? Why is it harder to be the upstander than the bystander?
I think it's scary sometimes because you feel like you don't want to involve yourself in a situation that doesn't concern you, but in the end it really does. Right?
Libby mentioned social media earlier, or at least the cyberbullying. Who thinks it's easier to be a bully via your Twitter or your Facebook or your Instagram account? Yeah. Who thinks that that's ever going to stop? What's it going to take? Where does the social media police, the Twitter police come along and say, stop? Where does that happen for you, Rachel?
I don't think there is a way to stop it completely, just because it's online. There's nothing, once it's out there, it's out there. There's nothing really you can do about it. And I know laws are trying to be passed about it, but once again, there's only so much that can be done with it. So it's sad, but I don't think there really is a way to eliminate it completely.
I know from my personal experiences, I've been cyberbullied before, and I do know that I just took it to administration, and the officer here at the school had then gotten involved, and I think it's just really up to that person that's being cyberbullied to, I know that it can be scary for them, but it's up to them to go and say something.
Send me a positive message to someone who's been a victim.
I would just say stay strong and find a good support system, and eventually it'll all work out in the end.
Always know that there's someone there for you. You might not know it, but there always, always, always is one person there for you that will help you.
Yeah, there's always one person that's gonna be there for you, whether it be a friend or a family member.
Most of the time, kids who are bullied feel like they're alone, and they never should. Like these guys said, you will always have somebody there for you.
All right, Libby, let's fix this problem. How are we going to do it? Start with the student end. How do things change here at Marshalltown?
I think it doesn't take just one person, but when one person has the voice and the courage to speak up and say, this is a matter that is a huge deal and needs to be fixed. And if they have enough power to get other kids involved, I'm going to use the word chain reaction. It is a chain reaction, and just the more people that get involved and speak out against bullying is hopefully how you can fix it.
It is like a chain reaction. I mean, if one person could start it, more people will follow. If they have friends, friends will follow friends.
Eventually, anti-bullying will become the new cool thing, and the bullies will just be left off to the side. So that's hopefully what I think will happen here at Marshalltown.
Like both of them have said, it takes one person to make a change. I mean, you throw a pebble in the water and there's ripples. And that's exactly what students can do, is they can be that pebble, start making ripples along the school to just start this chain reaction. It changes everything.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Libby. Thank you so very much for your time today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks.
In 2012, Governor Terry Branstad's bullying prevention efforts called for students to develop their own videos, expressing dozens of viewpoints from across Iowa on the impact of bullying. Reflecting the theme of preventing bullying in your school, 23 videos were entered in the statewide contest. A mix of powerful images, positive messages, and creative solutions evoke the emotional despair of victims and the commitment to preventing bullying. The student-produced videos were posted online, and in November 2012, winners were determined by public votes cast in the form of views. Here's a look at the third-place winner, Central Lee Middle School of Donaldson, with more than 25,000 views.
We set up a locker for students to anonymously report incidents of bullying. We would check the locker every week and report trends to the principal.
We created cards that promoted random acts of kindness in a game-like fashion. Students were asked to complete the action on the card and pass it on.
We presented a PowerPoint to the whole middle school to define what bullying is, inform them about our project, and get their feedback on solution ideas.
We created skits on different bullying scenarios students might encounter and what they should do if they were ever put in these situations.
That's an awesome video you uploaded. Did you film that in the locker room? I can't believe she didn't see you.
I'm practically a ninja.
Yeah, this video is going to go viral.
This year we plan to develop new ways to tackle bullying and expand our project to our elementary and high school, as well as other schools in our community, and work to spread the word.
Second place went to Lisbon Community Schools with more than 28,000 views.
With the implementation of The Voice, we have seen a 35% decrease of bullying amongst our elementary students. What makes The Voice so powerful is that it's kids teaching kids to be strong, to stand up, and use their voice.
The Voice is a student-run anti-bullying program that started after inspiration from an English assignment about marginalized societies. It started in the student council and it's now its own program in our school.
To be strong means to stand up for others. Be strong. Standing up means to be nice at Lisbon and no bullying.
Use your voice means to speak up when others are getting bullied. Last year I was getting bullied and I learned how to use my voice. And at Lisbon we use our voice and don't get bullied.
Be strong. Stand up and use your voice. Be strong. Stand up and use your voice.
The Hartley Melvin Sanborn Community School District won first place with nearly 37,000 views. The HMS School District won a cash prize of $500 and a visit from Governor Terry Branstad and Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds.
Hey, you want to sit with me? Sure. My name's Sean. I'm Peyton.
Hey, you guys need to stop and give him back his bag.
Why do we have to listen to you?
If you guys don't give him back his bag, we're gonna tell the principal.
Ooh. Hey, knock it off. I was a new kid once, too.
Well, it happened to me, so why can't it happen to him?
Well, it doesn't mean that it has to happen now.
You can view all 23 Governor's Bullying Prevention video contest entries online. Visit IPTV.org for more information. Thanks for joining us on Bullying in Iowa Schools. We've crisscrossed the entire state from Sioux City to Marshalltown and to Des Moines, hoping to provide some much-needed context on this issue. And you can watch our entire program or individual segments online at our website, iptv.org. I'm Paul Yeager. Thanks for watching.
Funding for this program was provided by Friends, the Iowa Public Television Foundation. Generations of families and friends who feel passionate about the programs they watch on Iowa Public Television.